Appreciate everybody coming in. I know everybody's got hectic lives right now, so it's been a long run so far. We're still kicking, so we wanted to kind of check in with everybody and kind of give you a little rundown of everything. So, um,
Yes,
without
I might
further
say
ado,
this more than one.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Without further ado, so we're gonna take you all the way back. Year was 2000. I was senior in high school. Adam was a junior. I was in metal bands, and we had actually Adam and I, years prior to all this, had what we had done is had like a ska band. I think we had like a couple little things that we never really.
Well, let's just for again, since literally half of Just in Case was in Jersey and half is in California. Let's just like Brian and I grew up together. We
Yeah,
skated together. Like we've been friends for a very long time and have gone through the ranks, so to speak, musically and non-musically together. So it's been a long journey. And yeah, it's just that's the background with us. We were in a few projects together, and then Brian, you can take it from there with the ska
yeah,
band and beyond.
yeah. I mean, we had a little ska band stuff, and then we had I was in a metal band called Run for Your Life, and on it was like a hardcore. It was cool,
For
but
your life, Bob Strauss.
yeah, Bob Strauss, Don Dixon, the late Jay Hamby. Um, so anyway, so I was kind of on the fritz with that. That was kind of almost over, and then Adam hit me up and said, "Hey, do you want to play any punk music?" And I listened to a lot, but I never really played it. I was always playing harder stuff. So I was like, "Sure." So I think the first song we did was,
Sure.
yeah, I was like, "Sure." I mean, what else I got to do? I was what, 18, 17, not even 17,
Not
16,
even, man.
17.
I might have been 16 barely.
So yeah. Anyway, so we got together, we jammed, we played. What was the song? It was off of before it was Phoenix TX, it was River Phoenix, and
It's called Speechless.
Speechless. And I think it was like one or two practices we had it pretty down. I mean, for us, we thought we had it pretty locked in. And we had Jay Fittipaldi was on bass at that point. He was the original OG guy with us.
Yeah, let me give a quick shout out to Jay Fittipaldi because I met him in my first period gym class freshman year of high school. He was one of the very first people outside of Upper Township that I met and became friends with. And we connected on the punk thing. He had a lot of Propagandhi stuff and Pennywise stuff. I'm like, oh, this guy's awesome. So when he started playing bass, he's like, man, like, wouldn't it be cool to learn a Mad Caddy song? And boom, we started playing that. And I'm like, yo, we should form a band. And that's when I was like, I think I know a drummer that might be down. That's honestly how that
So
all
awesome.
started, man. First period gym
Yeah.
class with Jay Fittipaldi, 2 years later.
So yeah, we had a bunch of rinky dink set up in my parents' garage. So basically, we had mics hanging from the ceiling, from the rafters. We didn't have mic stands. We had a big old column speaker that was left over from the ska band. Someone left. Um, we had an old PA. So we had the real rinky dinky. Adam was playing in an old crate 212 GFX 212.
No, this was way before that. That GFX was years later.
So even before that,
worst equipment on earth. But
yeah, I don't even know what. Oh, I
best.
think we had the Metal Zone pedal going through the column speaker.
Listen, we had your standard American teenage, garage band setup. I mean, honestly, Brian, there was a point where we were using your dad's wooden ladder as a mic stand. I'm standing next to the ladder. It's like right here. And I got the thing sticking out like 4 inches and I'm like singing into it. I'm thinking I'm like Freddie Mercury and it's just like I'm all off key all the time. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So funny.
But it was good time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play you the first 30 seconds or so, and then we'll kind of start talking about our first experience in actual because like what had happened is Jay Fittipaldi was in the band for pretty much up until through the summer of 2000, and then he left, and then we brought in Mike Barnes, who was a mutual friend from school, and I know Adam was closer friends with him than I was at the time, but brought him in. He was in a few bands around the area in South Jersey, and he killed it. So I jammed on. Actually, he played with Run for Your Life for like a practice, because after that we kind of just disbanded. But so it kind of all came together. Mike Barnes came in, and then we went into the studio he recommended called Orchard Studios in Egg Harbor Township in New Jersey, and we did our first one session 3 songs.
6 hours, 3
6 hours.
songs, like one take, and just
guy Joe
put it together
was,
and see what happens.
Yeah, this guy Joe is mixing as he went, and it was. I mean, we got what we paid for. So
Hey, it's our first demo. You know, I'm 16.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's play a little bit of that. And if I'm not mistaken, I wrote that little riff.
Ryan wrote this on guitar. He did. He wrote the lyrics too. So the first Just In Case song, Brian, you get pretty much all the credit.
No, I just said a little bit. Thank you.
I can't wait for the lyrics to start. Here we go. Ready? So, as you can tell, you know,
Yeah,
just
it was basic.
letting it rip and just keeping it simple. You know, we're just getting our legs as a band.
100%. I mean, that's pretty much where we were.
Right.
So go ahead, take it away.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say, like, you know, we're just finding our legs as a band, and it was just I knew from the beginning though that we had you know, some chemistry. I knew we had chemistry. It was just getting onto into a rhythm.
Yeah, I will say, ever since we played years before this in the other band, I think we always had a chemistry of music together, and I feel like that ultimately is what led us to reconnect a year or two after the previous projects. And ever since, this is like we've been gelled like crazy chemistry since then. So, but yeah. So what we did was that summer.
All right, cool. Yeah.
I was gonna say that summer we played at this little feed barn for my 18-year-old birthday party.
Hey Brian, would you mind turning the song down a little bit?
I will turn it off. How about that? Oh, that. Is that better?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just hilarious.
Cool. So yeah, that summer.
I was
turned 18 that summer. So we decided, hey, our first show, let's throw a little show. So we booked out this old feed barn that had a little hall, kind of janky hall.
Our first show, let's throw a show.
So we actually, Adam, at this point, we had brought in Mike Bolton. Shout out to Mike Bolton, because he actually named the band Just In Case, because we had like 2 or 3 other ideas prior. So big shout out to Mike Bolton. He was lead guitar at the time. And so we had written a few songs, and he came up with Just In Case, and ever since we stuck with it. And so anyway, so we booked out this little venue. It was like $80 for the day, so it was super cheap. And Mike Bolton's sister dated somebody in Don't Look Down. So from what I remember. So Don't Look Down agreed.
Big shout out to Don't Look Down for Back to Back.
DLD, baby.
I mean, they were the biggest band from South Jersey that popped during that time, man.
Big time. And and we had on that ticket Smashed by Cars, which was another hot band at that time, the De Loretto's era.
Shout out to Rocco.
Shout out to Rocco. Baby. And then we also played with some friends. They had a band called Curb Stomp. So obviously they did not fit the bill. they were super hard, but
they were a little harder.
They're the homies.
They were fine. No, they were great. They know who they are. They're Curb Stomp and the McFlys, Eric Albert and friends. Yeah,
and that's right, the McFlys.
The McFlys played.
So we had a banger. We had a pretty banger. I mean, there was okay amount of people for a show in the middle of the woods, essentially.
No, it was at the Tuckahoe Feed Barn, and you know that it sounds exactly like what it looks like, exactly how it sounds. So it was great. It was Brian's 18th birthday party. Yeah. We had everyone, all of our friends, like it was just cool, and we had a show in the middle of the birthday party, and it was to have our first show with a couple, with just an awesome lineup was amazing, and it really wet our whistle to write more and to just be like, yo, like playing in a band is like freaking cool, man. We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, 100%. So essentially, after all this, we did that show, and shortly after that, within that year, Mike Bolton had separated with us. So we were like in the market for a lead guitar player or whatever. So um, Adam actually was in school with this kid Blake Young, and I didn't know him at all. And he was young, 15, I think, when he joined. And
Yeah, I mean, I was a senior by then, and Blake, yeah, they were sophomore. Yeah.
so Blake came in, and it kind of changed the whole dynamic of the band because at this point, not only did Mike Bolton leave, and we needed that. Just before that, we had Barnes. So it was kind of like within the first year, we did a lot of moving and shaking. So um, once we got Blake in the band, Barnes on bass, and everything, we actually had a really pretty good run for I think that was like a year with that lineup, something like that. And then we did another demo at Orchard.
Yeah, I mean, we at this time, let's like kind of paint the scene of like what South Jersey, like where Brian and I grew up, where Just in Case started, like small town seasonal South Jersey, like not small, just there wasn't much going on in the original music scene. Let's just put it that way. And for us to get any show was like pulling teeth.
It was amazing.
So at this time, we're all still in school. Yeah, we're all still in school. We're all all high school, doing our thing and trying to get Just in Case going. But like at the time, it was like, oh, there's a show going at the Feed Barn.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check it out.
Yeah. And
who throws shows at a Feed Barn? It's like, well, we did.
And I had been working at the Bubba Max Blues Shack as a busboy for a couple of years. So as we started, I was like, hey guys, once we're ready, I could get us into the Bubba Max Shack, but we got to be ready. And I, at that point, we didn't even understand, what we had at that point. Now seeing that Bubba's isn't there anymore.
We didn't even.
But yeah, so what we did.
Oh, and Bubba's for people who don't know what Bubba's is. It was
awesome.
The most hopping bar, like blues, five stages, blues music, one of the best summer bars out. And for a young punk band to just kind of get in there and do our thing and actually run shows until past college, was kind of hilariously awesome. But some of the best runs of shows and times we've ever had. So
for sure. So let's bring you back. This is our song off our second demo. This had Blake on it, and also had who else? Barnes on it. So this was when we had Blake now, and this song.
This song is called Tug of War, and okay. So every band, like of course, like every band has that song that you're just like, people will always remind you of, like, no matter what other music you've written. Tug of War was written very young, probably in 2001, and it is the song that still gets brought up to this day from people that I haven't talked to in years, people back in Jersey that I haven't talked to in years, like, oh yeah, Tug of War, I found the demo, and it's like, holy crap, like, we've written like multiple other albums, but they're like, oh, it's just funny. This is the song that really like stuck with us, and if Mom, if you're watching, like, this is her favorite song by us, Brian. It always has been and always will be.
Well, this is the one that really exemplified the poppiness, if you will, in our pop punk. And kudos to Blake, man. Kudos to Blake, because he came up with this little lead riff. So here we go. So now, mind you, this song, like, this is just something we put together in a garage. This is so funny how.
And I feel like, honestly, all of our recordings, we had a harder edge live. Like, this song is a little more laid, but like, even when we're playing this live, it was definitely more
energetic. Here we go. We're gonna bring the hook. We're gonna bring the hook.
Hearing it on recording, it's just fun.
Yeah.
I wrote this about This is a true song.
I know. So obviously we have plans to get this material, this early year stuff out. We just haven't gotten it all together, but we are going to release these old demos as like one release, so you'll be able to stream it whenever you want. So let's bring that down. So basically, that's just an SO. So in that era of Just In Case, we had that's when we were going super hard at Bubba's. We're trying to, at least. We were playing all these little rinky-dink shows around. We played some showcases at Ocean City High School. You know, just around the area stuff. We didn't really go
Just
touring. Or,
high school era, you know, like
yeah.
borrowing Brian's dad's truck to go to Pennsylvania. I mean, we were playing Pennsylvania.
Or your minivan.
We started to branch out of Jersey a little bit.
Yeah.
Or my mom's mini. Oh, jeez, the caravan, the Chevy Caravan, or
Yeah.
Blake's minivan. Yeah, we were just minivan band. You could have called us the minivan band.
So so at this point, you know, we were going pretty hard and all that, and this is like a time though where everybody starts wanting to go to college and stuff. So Barnes had went to college, so we had to backfill him, and so we brought in Rich Tweed because Blake still had, I think, a year at least left of high school. Same with Rich, and Adam and I had already made the decision we're gonna stick with this band until the wheels fall off. At that point,
yeah, we're gonna go to college, but we stayed local. That's for sure.
So we did the local college thing, and we went to Stockton for all you South Jersey folks, and Cumberland
County too. Don't forget that, baby.
Don't forget that. That was a cool ass school. So what we did was we brought Rich in, and this is where the music obviously would change because, you know, we're bringing in a whole nother element to the rhythm now. Someone who actually was a drummer, and someone who, you know, not only was he a drummer, he was a really good bass player. And Blake and Rich had a band called My Own Way. Don't ask me why. I freaking remember that. But I remember watching them play actually one time before they were in our band. And I was like, oh, they're not so bad. You know, like very Saves the Day-ish, old school Saves the Day kind of a sound. But they were cool, man. And I was, you know, it was a good time because, you know, we were able to kind of seamlessly bridge that gap because we were like, without a bass player, you're really kind of stuck until you know, and thus the beginning after Barnes, it was like the beginning of the bass player rotation for us. So
the bass player shuffle.
Yeah. So go ahead, Adam.
The bass player shuffle, yeah.
Oh, and this is when we brought in Artie. Let me see if Artie's in the waiting room here. Yes, he is. I'm going to admit him in.
Artie should be waiting.
Bringing you in, Artie.
Artie, Arthur.
We're bringing you in, Artie. We're bringing you in, bud. I don't know if he's going.
Let me see if Artie's in the waiting room. Yes, he is. I'm going to admit him in.
Artie should be waiting.
Bringing you in, Artie.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is this thing on?
Yes. Check 1, 2. Check
oh,
1,
here we
2.
go.
There he is. I want to give you a hug.
Artie.
Yeah.
What's up, bud?
Well, all right, hold on, wait.
So as you get situated, I'll tell this, unless you want to tell it, Adam, but essentially, Artie
with how Artie entered?
Artie got into our... Go ahead.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So at this point, Brian and I, you know, Just In Case is doing well. We're playing a lot of local shows, breaking out into southern New Jersey, going up more towards Philly. For people who don't know, like geographically, we're only 55 minutes southeast of Philadelphia. So we're doing well with that, and you know, expanding our sound and everything. And we meet this kid named Artie Smith, who is actually, at the time, were you in Wheelchair Victory?
Yes.
That's how we met him.
Yes. Okay. So we had played with Wheelchair Victory, and shout out to Wheelchair Victory, a legendary Southern Jersey band that I have seen 55 iterations of since I was like 12 years old.
Shout out to Spence, bro.
Right.
Where's
Yeah,
Spence
Spencer
at?
Dorsey.
Spence. He's
Love
out
you,
here.
man.
He's in Encino.
Jesus, man, we have to have a reunion concert of all these old bands.
Right. I know he's he's out on the West Coast now.
That's so dope.
We played a show together, and we met Artie, and he played lead guitar, and he's just like, hey guys, like, I really like your sound. And we're like, hey, well, thanks, we love playing with you, and you're an awesome dude. And he was actually in the works of creating a label called Infinity Records. Or no, you had Infinity Records at the time, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just Yeah. No, it's all good. It's a while back.
No, it was.
Go ahead, tell us your side of this as this is happening,
Yeah, actually, I feel like I remember I'm trying to remember when I first heard you guys, but I remember hearing Tug of War, and I was like, "What's going on? This is awesome!" And meeting you guys, playing shows with Wheelchair and all that, and then I was trying to do the label thing. I was obsessed with playing music and everything behind the scenes, and wanted to try to figure out that world of it. And you guys were like on my radar. I was like, I need to figure this out. So we started talking and playing more with together with Wheelchair, and trying to just make a name in South Jersey for both of us, you guys and Just in Case.
Yeah.
And Infinity Records. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. I just remember at this point we were like, we need somebody to help us, because we had a couple people approach us over the years that were very loose about it. We were young when we were getting approached. Like, when you're 17, someone talks management and shit, you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, we just want to play Bubba's,
Right.
So, but you had come in and were like, hey, I can get you guys some shirts made up. I'll get you some more promo, yada, yada, yada. So then for this rendition of Just in Case with Rich and Blake, when we put out this record, this little EP with Fallen Chance, Distance, Realize, this is when we started bringing you in, and you were coming in.
This was the next level of our songwriting. This was, I would say, stage 2 of our songwriting. Yeah. You can definitely tell the difference between Tug of War demo and Fallen Chance demo. Musically, just depth-wise, the whole nine. We took that next step, which was great. I really enjoyed this time of writing, for sure.
Yeah. So real quick,
awesome.
I'm gonna start playing the last song on that demo that was called Distance. We picked this because I feel we both.
It's still one of our favorites.
It's a favorite song, but it showed probably the most maturity as songwriting, because it was very, we felt professionally written out without the need of a producer, yada yada yada. So here we go. I'm gonna play it.
I remember recording.
I love those octaves.
That's Blake, baby. Blowing my mind.
So, I'm gonna turn this down while we talk over the verse, but this era, bringing Artie in, bringing in elements that were outside of our little circle, really pushed us to try to be better. Like, we didn't want to let anybody down. We didn't want to let ourselves down. Hold on, real quick. So yeah, so we were rocking hard, playing a crap load of shows, going to like west of Philly and like little towns and stuff. We were going North Jersey. We were starting to spread our wings.
No, we became a regional band at this point, and it really just set everything up really nice for the next couple of years.
So then, this is where the story gets unfortunate for a second, because we're like, all right, we're cooking, we got things going, shows are booked. We were actually writing a whole new basically EPs worth of songs. All right, I'm gonna turn this all the way down. Hold on, break it up.
Yeah, everything breaks. Everything breaks.
I can listen to this song 100 times. Like I love it. So, all right, I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna bring it out so we can talk about it. So at this moment, we were like, Artie's here, we're helping, and then at a practice one random day, Blake and Rich, who were like senior year of high school, they're like, listen, guys, we're going to different colleges come the fall. This was probably end of the school year, May, June-ish, something like that, maybe early summer. And for me, it's
I'm
devastating.
not sure.
For me, it was devastating because like we were going hard, and we had people relying on us now at this point to like perform and be out. So it was upsetting because of how we were, how I felt big we were getting for that area. So personally, I was like upset, like not at them because they're doing their thing and we're all kids, so it's not that. But I was just upset, like, we're so close. So
Well,
I don't know if Adam wants
really,
to put in some.
No, I mean, I won't. I mean, I'll just. When you're in high school, everything's the biggest deal, and when you're two bandmates out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but they're like, yeah, we're just gonna move on. Like after this, we're going to college, and it's just like, oh,
yeah,
all right, well, okay, it's just tough to take, it's just, being in a band's like being in a relationship. I'm sure everybody's heard that before in some capacity, but like, when you break up with a member, it's really tough. And especially when you got, 6-12 shows lined up or whatever it is,
yeah.
and you're writing new music, and you're like, well, I really enjoyed playing music with you guys. How come you don't want to play music anymore? And it's like, well, it's no one's fault. It's just where life happens. But it was a trying time for us. And you're right, because I knew it, Brian, when that happened. You and I had a really long discussion about just like what happened and the state of how we're going to handle things. And you were just like, man, this one is really tough to take, because we were cooking. We were really cooking at that era. I remember.
I'm not going to lie. Like that day, it's like that felt like a girlfriend breakup. Like I actually shed tears in my backyard right after this all happened. And because I was like, I was taking this so seriously. Like this is like a marriage to me. I was like, I can't believe this is happening all in one day. We were like in the middle of a practice. It was like, oh, we're writing new songs. It's all good. And it was just like, boom. But the reality set in, and Adam and I were like, listen, man, we're not stopping. So who can we call? And that, my friend, is when Artie, that's when Artie, I was like, I told Adam, I was like, I'm calling Artie, because Wheelchair Victory had just disbanded at this moment. It was like right around that time. And I was like, Artie's available. And we were going to Cumberland with this cat, CJ, and Adam and I. And Adam was like, we're like, well, he said he played bass. Let's bring him down. So we
didn't miss
within
a beat.
2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we had Artie and CJ in the garage, and we were like, all right, we're gonna
writing completely different music.
Because we were like, at first we're like, let's teach them the old songs. And then we're like, nah, that's going to be like a headache to teach them 12 to 15 songs.
No, we just weren't in that mode. It wasn't the same.
And so what we did, we were like, let's continue with the Just In Case name. And then after a while, we're like, nah, before we played our first show together, we're like, nah, let's change the name. And I think it was CJ came up with Breaking Even. If I remember it correctly.
God, Artie, Brian was showing me some old photos that he found. Dude, it's like the nostalgia was.
He sent me one from the garage, I guess, with the bunny.
With the bunny.
Bunny.
We used to have a blow up bunny at our shows, and it's just, oh man,
I can dig it out. But so we got together and we had a little, we had a demo that we went to this local place. I'm not going to play anything off of there because that was like the day. Now this is when we're about to go to the Iraq war. Like tensions were high everywhere. These guys had a great setup, but they had no clue how to run a studio.
Well, it was the legit
it was like
studio.
$1 million studio.
Not to cut you off, I feel like the guy like inherited money, and he was like, I just always wanted a studio, and then bought all the gear, and then just had a friend who knew how to use the gear and kind of made it work, but it didn't. It was too much, I think, for
I mean, again, this is all a result of us being young. Like when you're young and you're just going and there's no handbook on what to do and how to handle things and how do you know if something's credible or not. So you're like, sure, you can help us out. And that studio session, honestly, I'll tell you right now, it took 6 hours to mic the drum set, and we let that happen
because
that was our fault just as much as theirs.
Like, he'd hear like a creak in the room, like from a pedal.
Yeah,
and he'd be like, we gotta
get
rid
and
of
you know,
that.
it should have been like, it should have been like, be like, you know what, like,
lay off the coke, bro. We were like hyper into this. Like, we are a punk band. We are not caring about a coke in the background.
whatever
you ain't
was
gonna
going
hear it,
on,
bro.
So.
But yeah.
So moving forward, just in case breaks up at this time, we're done. Like Blake and Rich move on, Brian and I move on, and it was very quick and it was a shock to our system. But within 10 days, we had Artie and CJ in Brian's garage, and we're chunking out new music, faster, harder, a little,
angry.
Definitely louder. Definitely
angry.
Louder.
It was
we had full stacks.
It was like. It was like angry pop punk. It was like angry as shit. It was like.
Do we have
if
Prove Me Wrong
somebody
queued up?
Yeah, I got Prove Me Wrong right here. So what we did that stupid little demo, and I have it still, and it's okay.
No, it doesn't. We don't need to even talk about that. We did a demo, whatever. We moved on. We went back to our.
So we went back to Orchard Studio where we did the Just in Case stuff, and so I'm gonna play this song. I think I'm going to play more of it than the last couple because this song means a lot to me because this is an era where we did a lot. We're going to get more into it right after I play. We'll play about half the song or whatever. Hold on. That's
I think that's a good area here. So
and that's how we got the name of the record. That's how we got the name. Welcome to
right there.
Because Artie was like, "That's the name of the record," and we're like, "Oh, that's the name of the record." And we did this okay. So Artie, for some reason, has this magic touch of getting all the magic from the music industry pressed on his ass like this. Like salt and awesomeness, sugar, pleasantries. So he hits me up one day and goes, "Hey bro, I got Infinity Records in the booth on the Warped Tour. This is 2003.
It's three.
2003 Warped Tour." And we're like, and I was like, "That's awesome. What bands are you doing?" He's like, "I don't know. What do you mean?" I go, "Well, you have two bands. Your Best Regret, in Pennsylvania, and you have Break Even. So that you were actually working on and you're like, and then Artie goes, yeah, hold on, I'm gonna hit somebody up. And then he emails me back, he's like, yeah, we got 5 dates, we got Lyman Says stage, Yeah, this, that, and the third. We're good. We start in Pittsburgh, and it starts here, and you just gotta show up. We're like, what? Like, wait a minute. Hold on. Rewind it. What? So that's where, Artie, if you want to start talking a little bit about, this time in your life with us, like this is a world. This is like 6 months, 8 months at this point, and we're already at that point. So what's your look at it?
It was wild because it happened so fast. I feel like, with being in Wheelchair and doing the same thing you guys were doing as Just in Case, and then trying to do the label and all that. When you guys invited me and CJ in to try to do things and this new, like band formed out of it, it was awesome. It was cool because I feel like I got to move on as the musician, but still we all worked together with the label and Warped Tour. Yeah, that whole thing was
awesome.
That I don't even like, it's just an overnight thing. I remember just kind of being speechless, like, oh wow, that just happened.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, awesome. But yeah, it was cool. I don't know, we just playing shows, doing everything I wanted to do as a musician and in a band, growing and building and having a relationship with you guys. We were living in that van,
No,
you know what I mean?
Man. Yeah.
Cruising around.
And we had
but
Spencer and like a couple other dudes, like CJ's friend. We had like a few people in the van with us. We had like
CJ's friend. Remember CJ's friend just slept in the van? Like we
time.
checked on it. We were like, should we check on him? And it'd be like 150 degrees in there.
We're fine. We're fine. Yeah.
He was like, yeah, man, I'm good. And then we'd just go back to sleep on that couch.
I will say this. This era, it happened fast, like Artie said. All right. Breaking Even literally lasted 10 months. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're in our 30s now, and life is moving a lot faster than in 18, 19, 20. But like, to think that we played so many shows in so many areas, we did Warped Tour, which was still the best 7 days of my entire life. Nothing comes close, honestly. We lived the rock star lifestyle. I've told this, and again, I'll tell this story very quickly, and I've told this to Brian and a few other people. But there was a moment in Buffalo. It was August 7th, 2003, my birthday. I turned 20 years old. And it was next to a Six Flags, and the bands had to arrive early. So we're driving down the big parking lot, and there's a line, it's Warped Tour. Everyone's lined up, and we stop and open up the door. I remember pulling open the side van door and jumping out, and people look at us like we look at like rock stars if they just popped out next to him. And it was that moment, and I will never forget it. I call it the rock star moment, and it was the best moment of my entire life. It only lasted for about 2 seconds, but I can still recall it. And it's just, that's what you live for as a musician and a touring musician. And in that moment, I was like, wow, this is going to be insane. And it was. It really
and there was
was.
no windows on the van on the back. It had duct tape breaking even because homies, somebody did it while we were playing our set or doing our thing one day. They're like, hey, we just put your name on the van. We're like, what? And they're duct taping the name on the van.
So some of the really cool, just to edit the highlights for this Warped Tour trip. It wasn't just like, oh, we won a contest and we got to play one date. We won on the last 5 dates. We got to meet all of our idols as fans of punk rock and the whole scene like that. I got to get Fat Mike of NoFX, the founder of Fat Records, a shorty Italian hoagie from Wawa because he was hungry. We got to smoke with Bert from the Used, like all
Taking Back
the
Sunday,
most insane,
Taking Back
Sunday
guy.
And the dude was like,
all of those
on that real quick, Adam, I'm gonna cut you up, but Bert was like, I don't know if I could go on stage now. I was like,
yeah, right.
Oh, really? Because we're about to hit the stage, so later.
We almost split our set with Rise Against.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
Okay, so you tell that.
Oh, somehow I give props to Spencer for this, because Spencer loved Rise Against, and they were, I think, just signed to Fat. They were blowing up, but not as big as they are now, and got to be. But they came to us. He's like, hey, they got cut from the date. They didn't have time to play. Like, they're interested in splitting their set with you guys if you're down. And we were like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. And then you know, like 3 songs each or whatever. We'll figure it out. But then they ended up bailing out because they didn't want to, you know, piss anybody off or get in trouble. But we were there for the call, you know, to help them out. One, not to jump back, but that last day, and this was the moment, I'll chime in with Adam's moment. That whole 5 days was like a blur because of just dealing with the people that I had to help with the label stuff and trying to manage that, and Spencer and CJ buying douches.
Yeah. And I was drunk the entire time.
Right.
Oh my
there
God.
was a lot of antics going up. But even on the last day, we got the van towed somehow. I think Brian, you've managed that. The van got towed. You remember that whole
totally
situation?
AAA, right? We had to get AAA and shit, right?
They like towed the van. But anyway, I think we got cut at something changed on the last day for us, but we ended up moved on to the Ernie Ball stage.
Yeah.
And I remember we played after Don't Look Down.
Yeah.
And it was wild because I think we like closed the stage and had like Yellow Card opening or closing the main stage with Taking Back Sunday doing the opposite on the other main stage, you know, and the one sound guy was like, we clocked like 200 people for your set. And like, I remember just looking, everybody that was with us was on the stage with us. There was like people into it. I don't know. That was my moment. Just like taking that all in and hearing that at the end. Like we closed that out. Like, you know, like we should Asbury Park. We killed it. You know what I mean? But no, that's my moment there. I'll never forget all that, seeing everybody like Spencer and all them on the stage. And that was a surreal moment there.
It was a time where like the starting line was huge. Early November was huge.
Everybody.
This
brand
is
new.
Yellow
I think
Card was just got huge. Like Ocean Avenue
Pop
just
Punk
dropped.
and that post-hardcore size, that was its shining moment. I mean, because this is still years before. I mean, not that I'm a huge fan of them at all, but like, you know, like Fall Out Boy hadn't even really started. Panic at the Disco really hadn't started yet. Like, it was still that.
They weren't even probably a band yet.
No.
I mean,
you
Bleed
know,
American by Jimmy Eat Roll wasn't even released yet. You know, like, this is early.
It was. It was awesome.
I think
it was for a couple years.
I think I still have the original like paper timesheet from that day. I'll dig that up and I'll like send you guys a picture of it. I have it somewhere here. But yeah, no, it was a good time to be there and to hear that. Like, you know, we kind of had there were bands that I would rather go, you know, that I would be like, later guys, I'm gonna go check out Taking Back Sunday, peace. But you know, we had people there for us. It was awesome.
Word. Artie.
I'll piggyback on that. All that. That shit was such a good time, man. Like that was the experience, because it was, I think for everybody, it was the first time we went on a multi-state tour. Every day is a different state, different city, up and down, zigzag. Adam lost his voice going to our home show at Camden, like, because he drove like 12 hours.
I was up for 80 hours straight.
My drunk ass is doing drunk things, and we're shooting water guns at people. We started the water gun at Warped Tour in 03. We started shooting people, and then everybody in the other booths around us were like, oh shit, that's good, because people would come up to us and be like, what the? And I'm like, here's a $3 CD, boom. And it was like,
word.
The influence of alcohol, bro. Anyway, so
Artie, wait, what's up? I'm sorry, Brian.
I was going to say, we'll close out this segment with one of our, Adam and I's favorite Breaking Even songs that we had recorded. Obviously, there's a lot we don't have recorded, but
Artie, anything else you'd like to say before?
It's awesome. You guys are still playing, doing music. I love that, and you know, I love the adventures and you know that we had in us parts. Repping South Jersey and making awesome songs and having good memories. And man, you guys are awesome. Miss you guys and hope you're safe. And I love that you're doing this and still playing music and all that.
Thanks, man. We love you.
Love you too, Artie. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, man.
Yo, mucho respect, bro. So thank you for coming on. Chill. So we're gonna.
Thanks, Artie. We love you, man.
So we're gonna play this song called "Lost Time." recording this demo for this EP, and I was like, just listening to all the elements of that song. And I remember hearing Artie's riffs and just hearing the way he approaches the song. Because Adam and I have been playing a certain way for a long time. But I was like, called you up. I remember, I was like, Artie, I just want to let you know, bro, I appreciate what you do with this band, all the parts you do, how you play your parts, the things you add. So I just wanted to reference that because this is what memory is. My memory is very fading. There's parts when I just remember being in the car and calling you on the way to Cumberland or somewhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, thanks, man. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, this part. Oh, I forgot about this. Those octaves.
Yo, this part we were going, man.
Right?
Dude, a Warped Tour, we were moving like.
Yeah, just like. That's awesome.
Alright, so to go through.
Anyway, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's it, bro. Break it even era.
No, that's good times. Good
Yeah.
times.
Thank you again, Artie.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Yeah. We'll
Take care,
catch
Artie.
you
We'll talk
soon,
to you
all right?
Sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Later.
later, Artie. Thanks, man.
See ya.
All right, so
we're kind of burning daylight here. But so yeah, Breaking Even happens a 10-month whirlwind. All right, we go on Warped Tour, we sign to a label, we do the whole nine. We do things that we never ever dreamt of doing. Unfortunately, Artie left the band not too much longer after Warped Tour, and this is right when Brian and I are going into transferring into Stockton College for our junior and senior years. When this happens, it, you know, like when the last breakup hit Brian hard, this one hit me really hard. I was just worn out. I was up here and we're cooking, like we're talking to, we've just reached another level at this point. I felt like we're about to pop. 2003, 2004, this was the time for the music that we were playing. It was the right place, right time. I felt it. When Breaking Even broke up, I decided to take a year off. Not a year off, but it ended up being a year. I just was burnt out, and I just, it wasn't personal against anyone. It was just time for me to take a guitar, a front man break, if you will, of Just In Case. And
well, it was well deserved.
I took a break from Just In Case. Yeah.
Yeah, it was well deserved. I ended up joining up with a couple of guys from the violin scene. We started a little band called the Blue Season. So if anybody ever heard of them, we were doing pretty good. But that was like a year for me, because I remember about a year after joining them, it was pretty much almost to the month. It was like Adam had hit me up and was like, "Hey man, I'm ready to write songs." And I was like, "Okay, well, let's go." And this is and this point we hadn't played together literally in a year, because you like stopped playing guitar pretty much like.
I did. I don't think I touched the guitar. No, I don't think I touched the guitar for almost an entire year, like, which was crazy. I wasn't even playing the saxophone really. I was just on a musical break. I was just I think broke. Like, I mean, my grandfather died at that time too. I was just, it was a lot. There was a lot going on.
You went through a lot. So, but when we got jamming again, we ended up working on this idea that you had coming into the situation. Like, hey, I've been working on this lately. It's a little riff, and we both were like, yeah, let's vibe on that. And we ended up working on it. And then I was working at the Olive Garden at the time, and I had met this guy, Casey, who had just started at our location. And,
is he waiting in queue? Can we bring him on?
Queue. I'm going to admit him in.
Let's just bring him on now.
Casey. I'm going to bring in Casey.
Let's just get this party started, all right?
So I hope So
Iggy Wawa.
So Casey comes in, and you could tell he wasn't a huge fan of pop punk. So
well, hey, let's not frame it like this. Look, let's just say this was we were hungry to write again. Just In Case was hungry again, and Casey was just kind of like not a tryout, but like, hey, you want to jam and see what happens? Well, instantly we hit it off instantly, and we're gonna wait for him to load. But within 3 months, we had written about 15 songs, and and we played Pearl Fest. I don't know if you South Jersey people remember the Pearl in the Summers Point Circle. Well, we played that 2005 Pearl Fest. It was one of the best shows ever, one of the best nights ever. I won't go into detail, but it legitimately was one of the best nights ever.
Sure was.
So this was college. This was Brian and I finishing college and moving into that. And look at Casey! Holy what?
Holy what?
Holy what?
So yes, we were like tail end of college, and like I said, Casey had just started working with me. I didn't even know him personally. It was like he talked about music. We had some similar interests. We both like Tool and all these other bands that were just very, harder shit. We were into like harder shit. And it was like,
well, Casey.
And I was like, hey, bro, you play bass, right? And you're like, yeah, I play bass. I'm like, come over and jam.
At the time, I hadn't played with anybody since I was in high school. And this was what, 04?
This was 04. 05. Oh, yeah.
I was 5 years out of high school. I was 6 years out of high school. I hadn't played with anybody in 6 years. I just been putzing around at home on my bass, and then you were just like, "Hey, you want to come over and practice?" I was like,
"Sure,
let's go."
Sure. And we wrote what? 3 songs.
3 songs in our first practice.
Yeah. Well, it felt good because we were like, "Hey, somebody who not only knows how to play the bass, but is able to play with people without having to, there was a very limited acclimation. It was like, hey, this music's fun. Let's keep going with it. So
yeah.
So we eventually we put it all together, this one jam that we had worked on this, and we called it Dull Side Cuts Through, and we recorded it. We were like, we got to record this thing. And
this would be considered our first song of the third or fourth iteration of Just in Case, and it's still a song that I enjoy.
Did we write this that first day?
Well, Adam and
I had the beginning of it.
Yeah.
But like we kind of like meshed it all together pretty quick. Yeah.
Pretty much.
We were like, that's done.
And then it ended up on the full length.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it ended up on the full length. Yeah.
But I'm gonna play the version off of the Out for Revenge.
I'm
gonna play the Out for Revenge version, the first version we recorded. This was our first because we did a demo just to get something recorded.
All right. Yeah. Come on.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So this was like our first official rendition. So here you go. It's a slow beginning, so it builds. Everybody, Casey never played with a band.
Take one more picture of this scene and of me. One that photograph that it came from me.
All right. So I'm gonna keep
let me, so
go ahead, Alan.
At this time, I will say, well, I'm 21, turning 22. Just in Case, this era with Casey lasted 4 solid years, and to be of legal drinking age, to be in a band that's writing a lot of music that we all love, it's super fun. Like this era of Just in Case was very easy. It was very easy and a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, not only did we write well together, like the three of us really became tight. We were doing everything together, and
yeah, no, totally. Sorry, I had to keep it rocking. I'm like, hold on, real quick. Want to hear a really bad singing?
All right, so
but yeah, So
we're going through there, and 21, 22, like early 20s, and just we're playing a lot of shows. Like we thought we played a lot prior. Now we're playing, weekly for sure.
well,
Plus some.
we had
going.
we established residencies. We went to Stumpo's, Bubba's, anywhere.
Yeah,
that-
to be a
like
a fully original band.
punk band from South Jersey that has residencies. Because I remember we were like, let's play Bubba's, and they're like, yeah, can you guys play like 2 hours or an hour and a half? We're like, we could, yeah. We're like, yeah. And we had to write like,
Sure,
Give
we're
us
only
a couple
playing.
months. Give us a couple months. We'll figure it out.
we had, yeah. I think we wrote like 23 to 25 songs within like a 2-month period, and we were like, half when we didn't even have
It was
words
quick.
for.
Wasn't it because of the Pearl? Didn't the
Yeah,
Pearl
that
want to give
too.
us like a 3 hours?
Yes.
And they were like, well, we're gonna do 3 hours by July, and we're like, all right.
We're like,
Do it.
sure,
Yeah.
all right. And
Sure
then
we
we had
can.
we did it, and we're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, that's what spawned the whole.
Wasn't all great.
No.
That's
So let's backtrack a little bit here, because I want
Don't make
everyone
me bust
to
that out, Casey. I haven't.
don't let's
Go ahead.
let's
You behave or I'm playing
Um,
this.
for people who don't know, Casey, like, what was your coming into meeting Brian and us and Justin Case? Like, tell us your like kind of how you came into that and what you're
Be honest.
I mean, Brian kind of hit it on the head. I graduated high school. I moved to Cleveland for 5 years, and then I moved back to Jersey, and I started working at the Olive Garden to talk about the OG.
you.
And then he was working there, and we started talking about music. And then he was in that side project, which actually was your project at the time, and said that he was meeting up with you, and we had a space, I think originally for a singer, right?
No, it was a bass player.
And then I came in, and literally I brought, I had a little tiny crate amp, right?
Something like that. Yeah. Something little.
Little
yeah.
tiny like practice amp, and that's all I had, because like I said, I'd been practicing in my my apartments for 5 years, not playing with
Yeah.
anybody. So I come
and let's
in,
just say yeah.
You probably, Adam, you probably looked at me like, what the fuck is this?
Who did Brian bring
No,
over
honestly,
here?
I mean, it wasn't like I prejudged you when I first met you, because I didn't. It wasn't like that. But I knew that you were not listening to the same bands that I was listening to.
Yeah.
just-
And
Like-
correct.
Yeah, and so, but I didn't have a problem with that though. But I'm just like, okay, like this might not be more than one jam,
yeah.
and it ended up being 4 years of mayhem.
Yeah.
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 And I think ultimately the diversity of background that we had, because you were listening to completely different shit than we were listening to, but we both respected what each other listened to.
No, it wasn't like I was hating on that. I was just saying it was different. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's what I mean. And I think that's what really kind of gave us an original sound. We evolved into it. It took a little while, but like,
Yeah.
I think by the end, when you talk, I don't want to spoil, but like when you talk about some of the stuff that we did later in our
Yeah.
career, if you want to
Yeah.
call it,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was way different from
For sure.
what we started out with.
Yeah.
Way different than
Oh,
best friends.
Glued apart.
I
So-
couldn't even tell you who the bars.
Yeah. So
I
I
actually
just,
still like
I listened to it the other day. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man.
I wrote it. Of course, I like it.
I'll tell you what, like, I remember when we got back all together, and I just felt like, because I hadn't played with Adam in a while. I was like, I felt a little rusty with punk, because I was playing like lighter, kind of like piano driven rock music, kind of like early November, but the lighter stuff of it. So I hadn't, really been playing aggressive. I haven't, and I wanted it, but it was hard to get back into that, like, all right, let's get that edge. And to your point, it took
Yeah,
a
how do you think
while.
I felt, man?
Yeah, yeah. So I felt like I looked at us all as like a bunch of like, we're like the guys like looking around the room like, so what's gonna happen here, And then we just started playing, and it was like, oh, that wasn't bad at all. Like next Tuesday, like what do you? And then
do you remember you were still with your band at the time?
yeah, the
and,
blue season, yeah.
And I was always thinking, like, after that first practice, I was like, oh man, this is actually kind of fun. And then
I
what
might
was it, like
actually have
2
to
or 3
commit.
practices? I was under the impression that we were the side project, and then 2 or 3 practices later, you come in and you're like, yeah, I quit the other band.
Yeah. Oh, well, there was a lot of background with that band that all led up to that, but it was like when Adam reached back out, it's like that's your person. Like that's who I play music with. That's who I played the best with. And I was like, well, if Adam's ready, let's go, because we didn't start the project initially years prior to let it go out without actually continuing it. So that's why when we got jamming and we were like, do you want to call it, again, that conversation, what do you want to call it? Like, do you want to be a new band? And I remember I was like, I think we still have Just in Case shirts in a box. We're ready to go.
That's the deciding
I
factor.
was like, let's just call it Just in Case again and just keep it rolling.
Hey, it worked. It worked.
And
It worked. I will say,
Yeah.
it was the funnest era of any band that I've ever been a part of.
Well, it was fun because, to your
Yes,
point,
It,
all
it
could
really
drink.
was.
We could drink. We were a little older, so we had a little bit more of a foresight of what to expect down the road here, and we started going out of our area. We're like, I remember
But I'm not even talking about being old enough to be in bars and drink and all that and whatever. I'm talking about like actually having Casey, you're the
Play
longest,
music.
the longest running
Yeah.
member we've ever had, 4
Yeah.
straight years plus. And we wrote the most music and we played the best shows and we had the best chemistry and we did. So in this era of Just in Case, after, how many years of doing this, looking back and doing this, now that
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this, it was 100% the best time of Just in Case. Like it just was.
Well,
It really
we
I
had-
love
was.
you guys.
We
I
had
love,
a-
I love you guys very much.
Yeah.
Man,
Dude,
you're my
we love
brother,
you
man. I
too,
fucking
bro.
love
It's
you.
all love. We actually we had the privilege of when Casey came out and visited years ago now. We had our stuff in a practice garage that we had. And we're like late
yeah.
night shit. We're like
Remember that?
all been drinking.
Remember that?
And we're like, let's go play music. And Casey shocked Adam and I both. We're like, you still remember these songs? Like, how the hell
Yeah,
do
we
you
played the
remember,
full length,
like-
start to finish.
We played the full length,
We played
like,
the whole
all
thing.
buzzed up.
I was drunk.
Years. It had been years since we'd played together.
Yeah,
and
like
you stepped in like nothing.
yeah. So, but yeah, to your point, I mean, musically, the shows we started playing, like the Frostburg trips, which was amazing. Like we showed up to
Frostburg
this
University.
janky bar. We drove 5 hours out to this Bumble F, Maryland, and we're like, where are we going? We show up and this dude with like a green or something, his name is Ogre. Like where did we go?
Big ass
And it's
dude.
like it's like this dive bar, and we're like, we've never been to this town. We don't know anybody. And after the first set, we had one of the 20 patrons at the bar calling all his college buddies. You got to get down here. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Next thing you know,
that
we
was
met
just
Mike,
the right
we
place,
met
right
Danny. We met all those. I can't even remember everybody's name because it's been years. But I just remember Mike was like their head guy. Like he was like the guy everybody talked to, like the center point. And it was
Big
awesome.
shout out to Frostburg State University,
Yes.
2005.
Yes.
And then we got invited back that December when they all graduated and they all had the house together. So this is in the middle of Western Maryland in the middle of winter. I mean, there's like 4 feet of snow. We drive 6.5 hours in the middle of Podunk, Maryland. No offense.
It's like literally surrounded by
And
West Virginia.
It's
Yeah.
literally surrounded by West Virginia. Yes.
It was
so
not
I
our
mean,
Part of
scene.
Maryland.
it
It
made
was
me
not our
feel
scene at first.
yeah.
Yeah. It was not.
But
our
we end up
scene.
playing
But I
their
really agree.
graduation
It was
show.
It was the most fun. That first show in Frostburg, I think I have the most memories of.
Yeah. And then they
Because-
invited us back for a house party
Yeah.
months later, and
Dude.
I have video.
Too.
I'm gonna
then we
post
drove-
that video. I have video of the basement or wherever we were, the basement, garage, wherever it was, and it was packed. And we were.
You have video of that shit?
I have scripted on video people wilding out in night vision because it was my old camera and it was dark in there. I put on night vision.
Oh, I do remember that.
I'll post
That-
it, but
That
Most
night
times.
was absolutely epic.
Mayhem.
Casey, what would you say was your favorite show that you played with during that era?
I mean,
You have one?
Like I said already, like Frostburg, I think has the most memories. Even though the crowd wasn't insane, they were like insane as far as like size.
Numbers.
They were so
Yeah.
cool. They
I
were
just
amazing.
liked it.
But I gotta say the Unity show in House of Blues.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the show itself, yes, but the after show at the Grand Fromage,
Fromage. Off the
that
hook.
was everybody jumping in front of us and like literally like the right
Hammered.
here. That was
Yeah.
so amazing.
Hammered.
That was, yeah, that was
Dude,
cool.
long day. Dude,
Yeah.
and I will tell you, this is when we started doing the fire hall shows. This is where we started really getting a lot more bands centralized into a location where we could concentrate the fan bases and really make it make sense for everybody, because everybody was doing their one-off shows, but we had these monthly gigs going on that kids and all ages could come out to and be like, hey, once a month there's going to be a show there. The flyer would drop. We'd have anywhere between 50 to 200 people show up depending on the lineup. And at that point we were playing Stumpos a lot. We played with Chris Rabb for that DVD release show because he was
That's right.
he was a friend with a
about
coworker of mine, and he ended up liking the band, and he was like, yo, I want to do these DVD releases across South Jersey. We invited him to the all ages show at the fire hall. He like had his little table and all his stuff for sale. And then we ended up playing Stumpos, and he ended up getting on the mic, and we are all just jamming and getting drunk. And
Yeah, that show was cool.
good times, bro. Like
It was.
there was like in those 4 years, I mean, we did a lot. House of Blues.
Yeah, we did.
There was a brief stint where Casey had to take like a hiatus, so we brought Rich back for like our little tour, and we went down to Florida and played.
So,
with people, and then
real
you know,
quick, sorry, I
No,
need
go
to
ahead.
interject. So I'm getting text messages from people. This is why I love, like, I knew this would be great, because I'm getting text messages literally as I'm watching this from people from Jersey. That some of these people I haven't talked to in an absolute long time, more than 5 years, and I'm just getting these texts saying random memories of these shows. I just had a memory mentioned to me from a VFW show that happened 8 years ago.
8.
No, not 8. No, 10 years ago.
18?
10 years ago. This was 2007, 8.
Keep going.
2008.
Keep going,
Yeah.
Adam.
Anyway, this is. I'm just saying, these VFW shows that we threw for the scene were absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Going to Charlie's after
Oh, every time.
beer towers.
Oh, yeah,
remember your beer towers?
Oh, that was
Wings
like
and wings, baby.
that was
Wings
the
and wings.
that was like that was the thank you for everybody involved. The people that were running the door. We had people running, you know, like my boy
Ugh.
Boyer, James. All these people were running different segments of the show for us. So we're like, yo, we got to take care of these people. Brought them out, beer towers, wings,
No,
food,
insane.
you know, whatever we could throw at them. You know, and it's
The
and it's
best
like,
times ever for being in your early 20s, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
there was nothing I'd rather be doing than rocking out a show, playing practice, getting a steak, you know, getting Primo's cheesesteak pizza and
Chicken parm
fries,
pizza,
and
baby.
then putting down a
12-pack
pack of PBR and
Dude.
well, whatever I can say, and smoking and doing all those stuff that
Casey's
we did.
basement,
and-
bro, Linwood. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Uh-huh.
this. So that kind of brings us to this song. Sluts and
This
Gentlemen.
song is called Sluts and Gentlemen. This is 2006. No, it's not.
It was like 5, 6, something like that, in between. So a little backstory. People that recorded this, our buddies Mike and Stu, they had a studio down in like Hilton Courthouse, New Jersey or something. And, they recorded it for us. It was very like low budget for us because obviously we never had money. We didn't have that kind of foundation, so we kind of like always had to find a way to make it happen. So we set up one day or a couple days, and I remember at this point I had my huge drum set, multiple ride cymbals and shit. I had this huge plethora of like Neil Peart, like what am I doing? Like I'm not playing like ambient rock. I'm playing, so that's why you can hear 1,000 toms because there was 1,000.
It was great. Loved it.
And I always felt like I had to use all of it. We were playing Wildwood, bringing that set to the Hurricane East. With the stripper pole in the middle of the stage.
Oh man, I
Oh,
forgot about
Remember, do you remember the blonde cocktail waitress that tried to take me home?
No.
You don't remember that? She
I
always,
was always
okay,
I
so
knew.
Casey does. Casey does.
I remember.
And I'm just like,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm like, this woman. I'm like, I can't. This is not good. Like she like. Because I remember saying that. I remember her coming up to me and she did this. She whispered in my ear, like just to get her drinks. She whispers in my ear. She's like, "Hey, so I've never been with an Asian guy before." And you know what I
That's terrible.
And you know what I said? You know what I said? I looked her right back and I pulled a Chris Tucker. I said, "Neither have I." Because there was no way I was touching that with a 10-foot pole. That was just not the type of clientele I was trying to get. This was, all right, Hurricane East was a strip club, okay?
And
Let's just be real here.
And then the after party, and the owner was doing coke in the back, coming out all like, you guys ready to go on? We already been playing and shit.
South Jersey.
But then we used to go after party at the Shamrock. And this dude, Brad Cottrell, my buddy James' friend, him and Casey were having a conversation, and dude just goes, "Hello!" and like headbutts Casey, and usually one would fall at this point. Casey was like, "What's up, bro?" Or something like that. We were just, "Let's drink more!" And it was just like the loudest skull-to-skull hit I've ever heard. I'm like, "Is Casey alive?" And he just was like, "Yeah, I'm good, let's go." We're like, oh my God. Dude, I'll tell you, we had such an amazing time as a band at this
Yes.
in our junction.
Yes. Play that song. Play it.
What? The next
Play
one?
that song.
This
Yes.
next song? So this
Yes.
next song is one we wrote in Jeff Perkins' living room.
This album is one of our first full lengths,
Oh,
and this song is called Marathons and Alcatraz, and Casey loves this song. I'm very proud
We
of this
stand to
album.
battle status and a life worthwhile. Most never know the outcome, running marathons for the enemy. We're living on trial for our society, hoping to sway the jury towards bliss. How are you faring? Are your feet on fire from the miles of pointless desire? I hope we lapse out of this epic coma called the daily grind. What do I say here? The moment that I know will never pass. It rushes by while my head spins around. 40 hours is our marker stuck to a blank canvas. Envelopes
So,
of
I'm gonna
flames
drop
and
this down a little
bowing
bit.
to a fixed
So
reality.
we recorded this with Jay Wubbs, John Wabina from, he was in Hand-Me-Down Buick at the time, band that we played with a lot. And he had learned a lot from recording in bigger studios and stuff, and he had a little studio in Vic Lamanna's father's house in Ocean City. So at this point, we compiled a bunch of songs that we started years prior, new ones, all this stuff, from a bunch of different years, if you will, of this rendition of Just in Case. And I will piggyback on Adam's comment. This is a very solid album in my opinion for our music because it encompasses literally the entire era of Casey and us and all the times we had all in one recording. And this is the one song that sticks out like a sore thumb because it's the only one that's really not a funk song at all. This is a total Deftones kind of
You're running,
right here. Come on.
running marathons in Alcatraz.
Now, we used to back the van up onto Jeff's front yard to unload in the gardens in Ocean City. So, a bunch of like pretty wealthy people around, and here we are backing up this G20 94 van across the lawn, going into the house, partying, just throwing down the living room, loud as shit, writing songs. What a good time, man. So,
Yeah.
but
We wrote a few good songs in Perkins in the living room.
we wrote a bunch in there, and I'll tell you, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Something
you.
to be said was written there. I can tell you that.
Yep. Uh-huh. World War III.
Yep. So I will tell you, man, like it's unfortunate that like we did the tour. Like I said, Casey couldn't go on that one, but all the other stuff that we did on the road, Newark, we won't even get into that. That's the first Booker's night that we ever had. And all I gotta say is the highlights are Booker shots. I'm running around with Adam Sachs, blowing the horn throughout the bar. After that, we're climbing fire escapes.
You and me both.
Yeah, and then on the
No.
ride home with Jeff driving, we're smashing VHS tapes over our heads like it's nothing. And all I remember, the one comment I remember out of that whole ride home is, "Not the ref! You broke the ref!" I was like,
The ref,
I'm
the
sorry,
best.
bro.
So so real quick, I want to say one thing about that show. We did Booker's, which is Jim Beam's highest grade bourbon. Each batch is different, but it's about 130 proof.
Thanks,
So
Casey.
it's an empty bar.
You're
We're paid to play all night. Yes, we're paid to play all night, and there's not really anyone in there. So it's us. We're like, fuck this. We're gonna have a shot.
Yeah, there's like
so
the
we decided to get a
locals.
Booker shot.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
anyway, we get
That was
hammered,
between the
and-
first and second set, or the
Yeah,
second.
Yes, we still had half
Yes,
the
it
night.
was.
So the point I'm trying to make this, I go into the bathroom, okay? All of a sudden, I'm at the urinal doing my business, and all of a sudden, I hear my saxophone being played really poorly and loud.
Bark.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's not good. So I kind of like had to rush out of the bathroom, and I see Brian parading my horn around, just blowing. Like I had a clip-on mic,
Nonsense.
so you could just hear it really loud. It was just, I'm like, oh no. I was like, oh no. And then later, after the set, after we're done playing, Casey does the same thing. And I'm like, man, I thought I was the sax player. in
I
this
don't
band.
know
Apparently
how
not.
the bar owner didn't kick us the fuck out after the first.
Because it was Newark, bro, and he wasn't getting shot, so it's all good, bro. He was like, "Hey, you're not robbing the place, so we're good."
I mean, the reason why we're all buddy about the show, and we apologize for getting a little too bro-ish,
Yeah.
but the three of us, these are the
Been
memories
through a
that we
lot.
will always share every time we talk, because these are the
Yeah.
best. These are the best.
Yeah. So at this time, though, this is like really unfortunate because we were like deciding to make a move west because it was like 2008 now. We're like, listen, like we kind of hit our pinnacle here in South Jersey. Casey was like, hey, let's, I want to move west. We're like, let's move west. Casey unfortunately couldn't come, situation out of everybody's hands. So I ended up moving first, and then Adam came out, and then Vic LaMotta came out because he started filling in California and the tail end of New Jersey. Because at that point, we separated ways, like no hard feeling. It was just like, hey, we gotta, we're moving on, we're doing this.
No, it's like any other breakup, man. Like it never comes at a good time, and
Yeah.
it always hurts. But we just in case at this point was already what 9 years in. Brian and I had
8,
playing
yeah.
together, music together for probably 9, 12, 10 years, Miles. So it's like,
Yeah.
of course we're not going to stop playing. Like
Yeah.
yes, and just to back it up real quick, like any punk band from South Jersey, in our age group, we worshipped California.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
worshipped Orange County and
Yep.
all those Southern
Yep.
California punk labels. You know who you are.
Yep.
And so, we used to always talk about it, but we decided to make the move come hell or high water. We needed the music to reach a new area completely. And that's when, like I said, Brian's talking about his move into
Yeah.
the West Coast. And I came out in 2011
Yep.
and we reached another chapter of Just in Case. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
it
crazy.
it was like I came out, I joined this band. I was singing actually for this band, Nods to Nothing. It was like a hardcore punk band. I started meeting people in the scene immediately because that was my plan. Was like, I need to meet music people. I can't go out there and just party on the beach and that's it. Like I got to be into music. So I kind of did that as a placeholder. When Adam moved out, moved back into the situation with Just in Case. Vic had moved out. He didn't even plan it initially. That was just an accident. And so he had known some of the songs. So we ended up writing an EP with him in 2012. 2012, 2013, called Better Late Than Never. So we're gonna move on to that. So if there's anything else that you want to throw in here, Casey, before you part ways with us, obviously just for now, not forever, but but yeah, any memories, anything
It's been a pleasure knowing you.
Thank you. Thank you. I will see you never. Have a good day. Good day,
Hey, I'll
sir.
I'll say I'm looking forward to getting back out of the San Diego and have another quick jam session like last time.
Maybe
right,
even a
guys.
guest appearance on the song
Awesome.
live. Thank you. We
I'm
gotta plan it,
available.
baby. We gotta plan it, baby.
All right, hey man, great catching up, Casey.
Casey.
I love you guys.
Love you too, man. Be safe. All right, so
You too,
that,
brother.
thank you. That brings us to the next. So this is the next rendition of Just in Case. We threw Vic in there, and we wrote this album, Better Late Than Never. So did you want me to just go right ahead?
Better late than never. And
Yeah, we
Yes,
wrote a
here we
little
go.
EP. So here's a little one of the songs that most of you might know, both California and New Jersey. What's up? What's up, Adam?
oh, I was just saying to myself, I had a very metal guitar sound at this time.
Yes. And it's funny
It
because
sounds good, but like I mean,
we had this riff years in like probably the Flake era that we had the riff, like the basic riff, and you and I had just wrote on a random day, and it just stayed in the back burning. And then he started playing the Kentucky with Vic. And we wrote this, and the chorus kind of came out. I think Vic might have spit out the chorus and was like, yo, this is catchy as hell. So,
I will say this is probably a top 5 catchy hook that Just in Case has written. It is.
yeah.
Every time I hear it, I'm bobbing my head.
Yeah.
And not just because I'm a fan of the music I write.
Yeah.
I think this catches.
No, I'm gonna let it ride. Give me 30 seconds.
Old boyfriend of he made this drawing. He had this idea. The Big Pen logo, and he was kind enough to do this on account of the drawing. And printed these out, and that's still hello to everyone that I haven't seen in a while. Miss you all. I haven't been back to Jersey in 2.5 years. I was supposed to come back in June, but
Right, baby.
that's not
I'm
happening.
back.
So at this point, I'm chilling in California, still playing. Just in Case it's still going well, but yeah, I hope everyone's doing well back home. That's for sure, and I miss you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I mean, at this point, we had there it is, baby. There it is.
I was just telling the audience about this. Shout out to Tim Green if you guys couldn't hear me over the song playing. But my sister's old boyfriend back in the day did mechanical drawing, and we had this idea for Just in Case instead of BIC, it was JIC. And he printed this out. He made it for us, and we got them printed. This is laminated. I've literally had this since like 2001, and I will be buried with it.
And I had one too, and I accidentally left it at the Soma after one of our shows up on the wall, above the merch table. I didn't realize it till like we opened the merch box the next time, which was probably a couple weeks later.
I'll make you a deal, $50.
Yeah, $50, bro. This is authentic material.
Not that you have the file and can print it out again, but no,
Yeah.
you know.
That's the OG. So so at this point, we played with Vic. We started playing around the San Diego scene. We did a
Making
few.
all these new contacts.
Yep, and it was fun. Vic was, he's an amazing songwriter. He was all over this EP. He had songs that he had written like riffs for and kind of give us the idea, and then we built it. But talk about kudos to Vic, man. He's a hell of a songwriter, catchiest stuff that I've ever heard. Coming from one person with it, just randomly. So he's amazing. He's still back in Jersey doing his thing. So I'm sure he's going to come out with some music soon. He always does. So,
But
yeah.
like the story of Just In Case, we're going through our fifth or sixth bass player by now, and this is the period where, again, we kind of get our, it takes time to we moved to a different coast, didn't really know anyone. It takes time to get our bearings, and it probably took us a good year to really understand what we were doing, get back into the writing process like that, Write Who I Am, the EP and everything, and we've just, after that point, it's to where we're really feeling a part of the scene. We're playing regularly at the venues. I don't want to, I hesitate to name bands because I don't want to, leave anyone out, but I will always give the proper credit to Punch Card from Chino, California, who first show band we really met and became friends with out here. They really showed us the way and helped us out a lot. Shout out to Mike, Chris, and Johnny. You're our boys. We love you.
Yes, sir.
So, and it's just another evolution of Just In Case. I hit another writing spurt in 2013, and this was the beginnings of writing our latest release, Prior Knowledge, which is a full length that we did with RW Recording. Shout out to Roland.
Yeah.
And this was another level. I mean, at this point, again, like we're adults now fully, like we've been playing for a while. I reached a total new level of me pushing myself personally as a songwriter. And I feel like without a doubt, you want the latest one to be better than the last. I think Prior Knowledge speaks for itself as a group for Just In Case. I'm very proud of it, and we're gonna play Roller Coasting, right? The first track.
Yeah,
This song is without a doubt a top 3 song that I have ever written personally, and I am just I'm so proud of it personally, and
I'm gonna play this song, a clip of it, and then we'll go in a little bit more onto this record and the process. Now, at this point, I was living in Lakeside with John Lovina and a couple other the Hand-Me-Down Mule guys and friends from back in New Jersey. And at this point, Vic had moved back to New Jersey, so John was still on bass because he knew our stuff enough and he actually started writing some of these songs with us at the time. I mean, he helped write the title track and as far as with bass parts and stuff and a couple change-ups, but that was short-lived because I ended up moving and they ended up, he started his own project for a little bit. So we ended up going with a few people. We had Johnny from Punch Card fill in. We had Brian Wilder for at least, a year and a half, something like that, 2 years.
We just went through a carousel of guys helping us out. We weren't looking for a permanent member at the time. We didn't want like that because we had been burned so many freaking times before, honestly. So it was just, we were waiting for the right situation to come. We were under no obligation to like, hey, we are full-time bass players. Like, no, if you can help us out, great, because we just want to keep playing shows.
Yeah, and at this point, it was just like Adam and me doing all the writing and stuff for the most part, and then whatever. So it took us about almost 2.5 years to write all these tracks, and I think we wrote about 15 of them.
I think we wrote, 16 tracks and we used 13?
Something like that. And, but yeah, so we ended up, contacting Roland because obviously it's a longtime friend since I've been here. He's one of the first people I met out here, and we liked the way he produced records and how it sounded. So we reached out. We're like, man, we got all these songs. We really want to sound big. We want to sound awesome. We have no money.
Well,
we're back to
whatever.
but
Whatever.
you know what I mean. It was like we don't want to make this into a $5,000 project. Like that's how we were looking at it. Like we
Well, it was a
wanted-
mutual thing. Like
be
he was
efficient.
a label doing his thing, and
Exactly.
it was the right time, right place. We were ready
yeah.
to do a recording that the music justice, because you always want the last to be better, the current to be better than the last. And this was 13 songs. Like how much will we do 8 and 10? Like no, we wanted to give you a free meat sandwich. The song, production, and again, most professional sounding recording. We did it right. We made sure everything was what we wanted, and I think the results speak for themselves. And we very proud of this album, and this is the one that we still play a lot today. Like when we do in San Diego, we open up our set right now with Roller Coasting, the song you just heard.
Yeah. So basically, and at this point was a time Adam had a job opportunity. He moved to Austin for a 2-year period. So we had a record release show in January 17, because the album came out 16. That January, it was the only time that really could make it work for everybody. And so we got our close friend, and I'm going to bring on right now. Let's see. You're coming in, Gower. We're going to bring in Brian Gower from Playing Without a Pilot, and now Just in Case. And he really came in at a very crucial point where we needed someone to hit the ground running, that understood what we were doing and just knew how to execute. And let me tell you, what a pleasure it's been playing with Brian Gower the last, almost 5 years. 4 or 5 years now.
Almost 5 years.
Almost 4,
Yeah, I
4
mean,
and a half.
again,
So,
like reiterating what I was saying before, like we weren't pressured to be like, hey, we want a full-time bass player. Like it was like we just needed someone to fit the bill, and if those requirements were satisfied, maybe we could discuss a little bit further. But Brian Gower was what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Someone that's coming in pro and handles business and is a cool dude and likes the music and can vibe and just no drama. Like we're not looking for, we just needed someone to do it right, and he has 100%.
Yeah, so while he's getting logged in, I'm going to play our next song off this record. It's called Your White Flag. It's one of Adam and I's favorite off this one. It encompasses a lot of our youthful energy, I think. So I'm going to...
A lot of our hip-hop's in this, man.
Yeah, so here we go. So this record, to Adam's point, it took us 3 whole years to finally get it done and recorded. Like, it took 2 years to do, and that wasn't being lazy either. We just really wanted to make sure that our music was as good as we could get it before we went to the studio. And I moved a couple times personally, so it was a lot of changing and moving places and scenes. So yeah, man, I mean, this is a great experience in my opinion. We wrote this song think when I was in Barrio Logan on my little electric drum set and just trying to make anything happen. I mean, we were working with what we had to work with, and to be honest, I feel like just regurgitating what you had said. I mean, this is probably my favorite, most polished, one that we did. So.
Well, yeah, without a doubt. I think it's anyone, even if you don't even know anything about us, if we showed you the full length and we showed you prior knowledge, you'd be like, yeah, you guys definitely
am I in?
Reached another. Oh,
yeah.
Gower's in.
There
Gower's
he is.
here.
I'm gonna remove you.
All right, cool. I had a little snafu with the computer and the video and stuff like that. So, but I'm here.
It's all good. What's up, Brian?
How's it going? I mean, you guys are reminiscing about years past and stuff that you did back in Jersey, but I'm like, we haven't seen each other.
I know.
Probably in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
I know. Honestly, it's been.
Let's reminisce.
The
back
last
to
show that
old
we
days.
played was the last show that I played. So I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, in Lemon Grove.
That was at Dirk's, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, that was fucking killer. It was fun.
That was
with Riot
back.
Scene.
Holy crap!
With Riot Scene. Yeah. Oh, big
It was
shout out to
pre-COVID.
San Diego Music League, Riot Scene. Like, these are some groups that have been helping us get some better shows around the area.
Oh
too,
yeah,
so-
again, like I didn't want to, the people who are watching this and who like the California San Diego scene, you guys know like who,
Yeah.
we appreciate you, to all you guys.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
So I'd like to get Gower's take on, initially being offered the, come on in, jam with us, play this show, see what happened. Like from there on, like how has your experience been? Like what are your thoughts?
It was definitely I think well, you and I, Brian, we know each other for a while now, and I think you were saying that like that's kind of when one of the first people that you met was like, I was one of the first people that you met.
Yeah,
you played my 21st birthday party.
I met you before Roland because I was in
Mm-hmm.
Nods and you had booked the show. But yeah, so that night is when I met you, Roland, everything. It was like one night I met all these people.
Yeah. So it was like, a while ago. I'm now 31. So it was like over a decade ago we met each other.
That was
We've known each other.
2009.
Yeah. And so, obviously I knew your band Not to Nothing. I knew Just in Case. So I would go see shows and watch you play. And I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. We never actually like played together. And then
Yeah.
it got to be a thing where it's like, through Roland, obviously, he, kind of came up with the idea. I was like, oh, we were in between drummers. And then he was like, why don't you just have Brian play drums with you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess. And so we met up once in your garage just to like see like, is this worth, your time? I think you were
Well,
like, I
anybody,
don't know,
like,
but
is it gonna work? Yeah.
yeah, I think you were like kind of like, okay, these guys, I'm like, I know of them, but I've never played with them. Let's see if
Yeah.
it works. And then it was just like the first time it's like, without even telling you the song, you knew like, oh, chorus is coming in on the ands. And I was like, oh, we didn't even have to tell him that. And I was like, it flew, it flowed really well. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. This is awesome. So we started playing with Plane. My band's Playing Without a Pilot. So if people don't know,
Yeah.
Brian plays drums for Playing Without a Pilot. And then it got to be a point where it's like, broached of like, hey, we're releasing Prior Knowledge, the full length, and we need a bass player. Do you want to play? I'm like, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, do you feel bad, weird about playing, Playing Without a Pilot? And Just in Case, I'm like, no. I was playing in different bands for bass, and I, it just, they all fizzled out, and I'm like, oh, okay. This one ended up, kind of like falling in my lap of like Roland and you asking me. I'm like, can you play bass? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I can do it. Let's see if I can know the songs. That was like my biggest thing. I was like, I said yes before like actually knowing all the parts. I'm like, yeah, no, totally.
Sure, I'm in. I got
And then
it.
so that was, oh shit, these are like, you just have to be like slap bass and all this shit. I'm like, no. Ended up being really cool. So Roland and I were kind of like learning the bass parts, and then we started practicing together. Adam had sent like, kind of like videos and like kind of like chord progressions of the songs
Yeah.
that we wanted to play for the set, and it ended up being like, all right, this is kind of a weird experience at first. Of
Yeah.
like, I don't know the guitar player. I'm like, I've never really hung out with him. I've like probably met him at a show. I'm like, hey, what's up, bro?
Yeah.
And that was okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Like I knew you really well, Brian, and then
Yeah,
Adam.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know of him, and I'm sure Adam was the same thing. He's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was like,
of this
okay, Gower,
person.
cool.
Yeah.
But hey.
Another Brian. Why not?
All I have to remember is a last name. I don't have to remember the first one.
Yeah.
And then
yeah,
you're like, okay, cool. And so the situation was like, oh, he's flying in for a couple, then we get a weekend, we play the show, boom, he's back to work. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that makes sense because we all have full-time jobs. We have to
Yeah.
know our shit and like come in, bang, bang, boom, and do it. And I'm like, cool. And so we were prepping for a couple weeks. And then it was like that weekend that Adam flew in. And it's like, okay, we want to make sure to do the show. We want to do a video. We want to
Yeah.
do this. And like, it was
Put
all
it
like
on this
super
video.
intense. And like, it worked out because I don't know, it just flowed really well. So
Yeah.
it's like my first time
handle our
actually
business.
meeting. Yeah, it's first time actually meeting Adam. He basically like got like dropped off at the rehearsal space, and we played the songs like we all have been playing for years. You know,
Yeah.
it was no problem. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh, that shows like we all know our shit, kind of, for lack of a better phrase,
Yeah. No, for sure. That's what it was. That's what it was.
And yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and ever since then it has been that. So we may not get together every twice a week or every other week or whatever,
Yeah.
but every time we practice, it's like, oh, we have like a goal in
Yeah.
mind. We want to make sure to get better, and
Yeah.
we all like stop and we all can feel a groove with each other,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool. It's like, nowadays you can be like, oh, it's like we don't play all the time because obviously life, and then but coming together every time in the rehearsal space,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we can
Yeah.
feel it out. And it's like, okay, we know when somebody's off. You're like,
Yeah.
We
and then
always
you come
we
back
always
in.
have that.
For sure.
You're like, that one
Yeah,
was.
all right, we got.
It wasn't
Yeah.
me. It wasn't me. I had to say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we can feel it out, and I think just from being somewhat seasoned musicians in our own rights, and that you guys have such a long history of Just In Case, and Kyle and I have such a long history with playing, and then Brian, I think it's a similar situation. If you jumping into playing, you're like
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like, oh, I don't want to step on anybody's toes or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
want to, but it's not like that at all. You can
Yeah.
say your piece, you can say whatever you want, and because we've been doing this for so long, it's like, fuck, man, you're kind of now integrated into this, and it's in a fun way, not be like, do exactly what we say, fit the mold, and
Yeah.
do it. I'm like, it's fun. It has been the most I don't know, just easygoing band that I've been in
Yeah.
besides my own. It's like my second band.
Yeah.
Everything's easy. I love it, and I love the songs, and the fact that they're similar genre to playing, but they are different. They're so
Yeah.
different. Your and Adam's like writing style is completely different from mine.
Yeah.
So I'm playing these songs, and I'm like, I'm working a different part of my brain.
Yeah.
Playing these. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And then I think Adam has said it before. It's like when we've played, it's like, this is the easiest it's been in
Yeah.
a long time.
I would
It's-
piggyback on that. I'd piggyback on that and just say the process
Yeah.
has been super smooth. I mean, like you said, we
Yeah.
execute. We get together, we execute, we make sure everybody knows what they're supposed to do, and then we play the show, And
Yeah. And it's like clinical, kind of in a like not in a bad way. Like that could be easy to like take that from that sentence to say like, oh well, you guys don't have passion. No, we have passion for it, and we want to get there and execute and do what we would do, and we love the performance. All three
Yeah.
of us, we never even have said it before, but we love playing shows. The three of us together, I'm like, this is awesome. This is so sick. It's fun.
Yeah.
And we've played a multitude of different shows. We played like a killer, like at one of the premier like kind of bar venues in San Diego. It's like Soda Bar, and it was a killer
Oh,
fucking like CD release show.
that
And
was
it's like,
killer.
hey, here's Tower Bar. You're playing at like you guys you're closing, bro.
Yeah.
And it was
2
killer.
a.m. on a Tuesday.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And we it was fun. And none of us have been like, oh man, this is shitty. No, it's fun
Yeah.
because we love doing what we do.
Yeah.
It's that
No,
mindset
totally.
of maybe being a little older that we just like, hey, we have the opportunity to do this and actually have fun with it. And that to me, I'm like, I have that in addition to my own band. I'm like, I feel like I'm a part of something else that even though I'm just playing bass and just shut the fuck up. I'm having
Well,
fun.
Well, I would say how
Eventually, I'm going to take a mic and I'm going to sing.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
As you had said earlier, like it was the same approach I felt. Like I didn't want to step on your toes and all that, but as we got familiar with each other and the music, and now that Adam's back in, it feels more like, hey, bro, speak your piece. Like don't, and it's
Mhm.
become more of like naturally, hey, we're a unit now. We're not just like you're a fill-in guy, you stay over there in the corner, and let the adults talk. You know, it's not like that. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
bro, like, what do you think about our set lineup? What do you think about these songs? Should we play those songs? It's like, I value your input
Hmm.
because you are a veteran as well. So it's not like some guy who we just met and doesn't know what he's talking about. So, and I don't know if Adam has anything else to put in, but you pretty much hit the nail on the head, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So, Adam, I don't know if
Yeah.
you have anything.
No, like I said, so I mean, I know you glossed over the hiatus that we had in 2016 and 2018, but I'm just going to kind of go a little more into detail.
Okay.
I was working for a company at the time that offered me a promotion, a big one, and an opportunity to open up a new market in Austin, Texas. And it was just something that I couldn't, it's an opportunity to do. And while it wasn't the right time musically because it was right in the middle of recording Prior Knowledge, which was, I was recording bass, vocals, and guitar. It was quite a lot. It was just the time that I needed a chance I needed to take. So I moved to Austin, Texas, Valentine's Day, 2016. I was literally moving back Valentine's Day 2 years later, 2018. So I had no music in my life. I was working 60 hours a week. It was crazy. So it was weird because when I was moving, it was very abrupt and it wasn't the best time for the band and all that. But I knew in the back of my mind, I was coming back eventually, probably sooner rather than later. I didn't think that my job would turn out the way it did and me moving back and all that. But it was weird when I moved back and approached Brian again. And it was just like, I'm back, guys. Like, let's just get this going again. Like, let's just do it again. Come on. Like we missed 2 years, but the album is here and we're still here. And it's just fast forward 2.5 years later now. And it's like, I feel so comfortable with Just In Case, with Gower coming in and solidifying the bass position, something that Brian and I have been so just wanting for 10 years. And now it's like, now I get to focus on just, doing what I need to be doing as my role in Just In Case and letting the other guys do their roles. And when that happens, because we're all veterans, like we can handle this now, and now it's easy. Now it's second nature. Now we can really have a lot of fun and hit our groove, which we are.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, totally.
And to build on that, it took us literally up until about a month ago for Adam and I to begin talking about writing new material, because this last album took so much out of us creatively, physically, mentally, just the whole process. And we put a lot of heart into that album. And, it was a long process, and we were like, you know what, let's just break from writing for a while, because we don't want to A, force anything, and B, we didn't want to come out with anything that was rushed, if you will.
Yeah,
hey,
and
let's
like
just
I think
release something,
sometimes people think like a full-length album, like, oh, it's 12 songs. It's like, 3 times as many as an EP. It takes 10 times more work to do a full length.
Yes.
You have to write the songs that don't make the EP.
Yeah.
Or don't make the full.
Yeah.
It's like
exactly.
Yeah. And so Adam and I, as of late, and Brian as well, have been talking about, finally, now that this whole quarantine thing's in place and all, writing a lot from our home and then recording with each other via sending files and all, and doing it what 2 months ago would have seemed insanity, but now it's the normal now. And we're not trying to let anything stifle our momentum. And we really wanted to bring this to the public and to our fans and friends and family and anybody who's watching to let you know that we are going to be writing new stuff. We're going to be releasing at least a single or two in the next within this next 12-month period. And that's going to be it.
Foreseeable future.
And probably a new video or something. And but anyway, we talked a lot. Let me just play one more little song off that record. We'll do a little goodbye, and then we'll end you with one of our favorite songs of all time. So this is a third song off of the third song we're playing tonight, not the third song on it, but it's called Talk of Potential.
It's time to stop denying. It's time to face the facts. I'm missing quick
ironically, we're playing a song that you don't play in the set. We don't play in the set.
Yeah.
It's time to stop denying. It's time to face the
It's like it's grooving.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got that vibe.
I feel this is a good, like, less like fast punk style, just more rock and
Yeah.
brings up to my surprise. I feel like I've been here before.
Yeah.
I can't
It has like dynamic back and
Yeah.
forth.
There's a lot to it.
This would be the song of like the set that when we're like in the middle of it,
Yeah.
that we all start bobbing our heads together.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
whenever we lock in, all three of us just like
And the audience is like,
That's
yeah,
like-
this. The
we're like
audience is
bunch of-
this.
we're just like pigeons. We're just like
Yeah. You might be doing something on the bass like this.
yeah.
I don't know. You probably would never do that. There is a cool ass part we worked on. Right here, right? There we go back in. Yeah. So that song is just one we don't play live much. I mean, we might. That's the other thing with having that many songs on the record. It's hard to pick the ones you want to play live because it's like, you know, some of them
Mhm.
don't translate well live like you want them to, and others translate awesome live. So it's like, you know. But now that we added Travis in the mix, Travis Wheeler on lead guitar.
Mhm.
There's parts in these other songs that we can play now that really fill them in and really bring it to life live, if you will. In my opinion.
Yeah, I will say the Prior Knowledge is produced a little bit in between, say, like, you know how early Green Day, all right, they're a 3-piece power trio. Their album is power trio production. Ours is a little bit more, you know, filling in with a little bit more seasoning, I would say, a little bit. There's definitely lead parts written that obviously before Travis Wheeler joining we couldn't play. So it's definitely opening that fourth,
Yeah.
dimension, if you will, back into our sound, which is going to be great. Not that we needed it, but it's definitely going to bring it back to where it's like.
Well, back to like the original, like with the Blake and the Blake era, basically with all the little Candy riffs, or even the Breaking Even with Artie. I've always been a fan of the Candy. The Candy riffs are what, in my opinion, really.
Oh no, yeah,
You know?
of course.
So I've always been on Adam about, hey, bro, we need that second guitar player, and it's always been, if someone approaches us
Yeah.
and wants to play, let's bring them in and try them out. And that's exactly what happened with Travis. It took literally from 05
18 years.
till now. Yeah, like 15 years or so to get someone
15,
who really,
16 years.
yeah, to really wants to be in the band and play lead guitar. And it
Yeah, we had a little taste of that at the
yeah,
album release with Roland playing
Yeah.
second guitar, and it
Roland
was
came in,
cool.
yeah.
You're like, oh dang,
Yes,
but
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
you know,
filled it out.
Roland, you know, with everything, you know, his label, his band, and all his other stuff he's got
Yeah.
going on. It's like, oh, he, you know, can't always commit to like, hey, do you want to play a Tower Bar on Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, you know, having
No.
another band member in
Yeah.
it. So I'm like, okay. So
Yeah.
it's like he like crushed it, but it's like for like bigger like, you know, album performances, he was like, oh, I'll, you know, I can
Yeah.
do it. I can make the commitment and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
so
and-
once we got like
So-
a taste of that, you're like, that would be cool.
Yeah.
And
And-
Travis coming in.
Yeah, it's perfect. I think, you know, it fits real well. And you know, I think going forward, you know, I think we're a lot more stable than we have been the last, I say, 5 to 8 years, as far as lineup, as far as kind of a plan, what we want to do. So I
Yeah.
really, I want to thank everybody that's been supporting us still back east and even over here with our new fans and friends. And this has been a long ride, and it's still going. We're not going anywhere. We might be getting older, and we might not be doing the split kicks like Adam used to do back in the day, and the little jumps.
Getting some of
and
the gray
stuff.
hairs up here, but we're all right.
Yeah, yeah. But we're
Yeah,
still
I'm.
kicking. I mean, Adam might do a backflip
Yeah.
or something, but you know.
I still might do a backflip and hurt myself, but we'll see. Yeah.
do a backflip off the pier, bro. Come
Yeah,
on.
bro.
If the red cut, yeah, more like a belly flop.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, no, like Brian said, I just wanted to thank everyone for doing this. This was kind of an impromptu thing, but we felt like it needed to be to be done. And just to clarify everything, because everyone's like, how long are you gonna ban, when and this and that. Just in Case turned 21 this year. It's of legal
March.
drinking age,
In
and
March. Oh,
that
there you
is
go.
an incredible thing to say.
Cheers.
yeah. Well,
So
it's
cheers
empty,
to
but
that.
cheers.
I'm on a drinking hiatus, but
Yeah. Cheers to life.
but
That was
no,
sure, though.
Brian and I love playing music together. We have since, forever, since, the 90s when we first started playing music together in other projects. And we, the fans of our music know that we've had a chemistry since day one, and we will continue to have that chemistry, and we will continue to use it and write within that realm, would that be Just in Case, which it is, obviously. And we'll continue to push that sound and to keep bringing you guys new music, because we're here and we're still playing. There's no reason for us to stop. And Gower, we love having you aboard, and we can't say enough good things about you, buddy.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, and I don't know. One of the things that I think draws me is you already touched on it. It's the chemistry that you and Brian have. It's like almost like it's infectious. You kind of come into the studio. You guys love these songs. You guys are best. Really great friends as a band. You guys are best friends, and I kind of get to come in and be a part of it. It's almost like osmosis.
Yeah.
It's I get to be in the band without even trying, and it's a lot of fun. Just hey, let's hang out and like I said, it's with everything that's going on, it's we haven't seen each other in I don't know months. Might
Months,
be
dude.
several more months.
Was it January?
But I mean, when we do come back into it, it'll be just like nothing happened, because we all have the same goal. We want to play the same music. We want to create. We want to do what we do. We want to perform, and that's great to be a part of that. It's without missing a beat. We're doing it. We're having fun, and these songs are fucking killer. And I'm stoked to write something else, something more, something new, something groove, and something good.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we're stoked to have that too. And I mean, so I'd say, keep looking out. We have our Spotify, all that good stuff going, and of course we're always active on our social stuff and all that. But this has been a really fun time. I wish we could sit here all night and do this, but there's so many stories that we could tell, but it would literally be like a 5-hour block of just talking about stuff. And so we touched on a couple of the bigger ones, but it's again, thank everybody for the bottom of my heart for supporting, coming out, watching this, coming out to our shows, buying our merch, listening to our stuff online, whatever you're doing to help support us. And thank you. Big ups to everybody who's been a part of this along the road. Gower for being on, Travis Wheeler for now being involved, for Roland for helping us getting our album out and all that. So
Just everybody, and
everybody.
Stay safe, everyone, for all of this COVID stuff. It's been crazy. So just it's been fun. This Zoom thing has been working out well, and if you haven't been following us, obviously if you're watching this you do. But JIC Official on Instagram and everything. Spotify, you can find all our music on there. Oh, Brian, real quick, I wanted to mention this. We are going to be releasing some of the stuff, the EPs of our earlier stuff, now that Spotify, because we used to release tapes on our demos on tape, like actual tape.
Yeah.
But now it's digital, so it's great. So look for the next coming, time. Our old tracks will be available on our Spotify account and other streaming services.
For sure.
Nice.
So on this note, thanks again. We're going to leave you with one of our favorite tunes. We wrote this before a Bayfest back in, I don't even know.
2005. It's been our closer for 16 years.
Yep. And so here we go. Without further ado, here's Scripted.
Love you guys. See ya. The old swell effect.
Yeah. We don't do this live anymore, unfortunately.
You need to get a pedal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the only time I ever used it, though.
Before this drops, I did want to say
for one song.
Big shout out to Gower's podcast, The Tone Jerks. they kill it. They're all about the equipment and stuff. So it's kind of like inside jokes from like,
Yeah,
we stuff like that. it's like kind of funny because that's what he does.
We've had Brian on. I got Adam. You got to come in on.
Yeah.
You know,
Most
on an
definitely. I'd love
episode,
to.
so.
So anyway, check them out. The Tone
It's like,
Jerks.
why do you hate pedals, Adam?
Yeah. But I just wanted to
I don't know you well enough to get into that.
I wanted to stop it before it dropped because I forgot to give a shout out to the Tone Jerks. They're on Spotify, Apple, all that. So please go check them out. They kill it. They're funny and they're awesome. So anyway, without further ado, thank you for coming out. Here we go.
These words only make sense from where I stand, so come push me off my feet and take a look. Because I can't take another script that leads right back to this screen again. Progress is too much, but I want you to know it can be better if we don't try. Progress is too much, but I want you to know it can be
Shout out to
better
Frostburg State if you're listening.
What do you say? Shout out to Frostburg State.
I said shout out to Mike and Frostburg State if you guys are listening.
Yeah.
Tonight is out, tomorrow could be too. The past is here and it's up to you. I fired my shots, can I please reload this time? If I miss, I'll just keep shot. Progress is too much, but I want you to know it can be better if we don't try. Progress is too much, but I want you to know it can be.
So this part is where the party up in Frostburg got lit.
That night was
I like how this song is like 2 riffs, but they just fucking crush the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
The whole song is just
The whole
2
song.
riffs. That's it.
That's it.
Can I just forget the words spoken on the phone last night? I guess not, so I'll jump back right.
Kinda. This is when
I don't have the pipes anymore to go up high like that.
And this is like when Alexis on Fire was getting pretty big, and you could hear a little Elvis. Just like I know I used to listen to him, Casey did too. So. And I know Adam listened to a little bit. You can kind of hear that style.
It can be better if we don't try. Progress is too much, but I want you to know it can be
Shout out to Jeff Perkins on the vocals and the lead vocals.
too much, but I want you to know it can be better again.
Thank you very much, everybody. Again, thank you for coming out. Thank you, Gower, for coming on, closing it out with us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries. We're gonna be, like I said, look out on our stuff. We're gonna be releasing old stuff. We're gonna be putting out new stuff. We're not going anywhere. So thank you for tuning in. And yeah. So until next time, namaste, y'all.
Stay safe, everyone. We'll see you soon.
All right. Peace out, y'all.